ready when you are.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here this evening. The reason we're to get together tonight and why we're convening and having this press conference is to discuss the future of our women's basketball program. We have made a change in the leadership, or will be making a change in leadership of the women's basketball program. In saying that, I think first off, I want to thank the coaching staff, certainly Jolette and her assistants, Lisa and Michael and Diane, and their service to the University of Illinois. Coach Law, I've only known for 6 months, but I'll tell you, this job's made more difficult when not only you have to make these type of decisions, but these decisions are made more difficult by the type of person that Jolette is. A terrific person, a wonderful human being, and someone that I know was a tremendous role model for her student athletes. I met with Jolette early this afternoon and informed her of my decision. She had an opportunity to talk to her assistant coaches and her student athletes. I had an opportunity to talk to her assistant coaches and her student athletes and talk about the transition. Lisa Sermignano will serve as the interim coach as we begin a national search, and no different than other opportunities here at the University of Illinois, I would expect to have a good pool of candidates for what I feel is a very attractive job. Questions?
What were the overriding factors in you making that decision to not retain Jolette Law?
Marcus, I think at the end of the day, and when I looked at the 5 years of the body of work, it really came down to the competitive piece, and for the most part, during that time period, our women's basketball program, now a 12-team league, I realized for a good part of that it was an 11-team league, but really competitively, we've been in the bottom third. I think the highest finished was 8th. And really, we need to be at a point where we're competing at a high level. Same expectations I have for the other 18 sports. And at the end of the day, from a competitive standpoint, I just didn't feel that we were trending that way. Not winning, not having a history of winning in recent times or at a high level certainly affects other things with the program. And felt that a change in leadership would hopefully give us that spark, provide the energy with the program and in this community to get us to a better place.
As you conduct your search, are you looking for somebody that has prior head coaching experience, or somebody that's been an assistant to somebody in a successful program?
I think I'm open. I don't think I want to go into any situation and paint myself into a corner. I think that certainly having head coaching experience is attractive in a lot of ways. Certainly someone who sat in that chair, but I certainly wouldn't restrict it to those that are head coaches only.
Mike, what kind of a buyout do you have to pay?
Jolette's buyout is approximately $310,000 a year. So, if you do the math per year, yes, and she has 2 years left on her contract.
Playing pretty well, at least at the end of the season. Were you kind of waiting to see how they did in the Big Ten tournament, or were you kind of already leaning towards this decision?
Well, I was hoping we would see something in the Big Ten tournament that would have been significant and certainly an opportunity to go to postseason play, which would have only been dictated by winning a Big Ten championship. But as I've said, I've got to really base it on 5 years of Coach Law's tenure and how we've played during that time, and a feel that are we in a place where we're trending in the right way, that or that there's at least a feeling in my mind that we would get there eventually. And I just felt that it was better to move in a different direction and provide someone else the opportunity to lead the women's basketball program.
Obviously, winning helps a lot of things, but how much do you want to create a buzz around the women's program? Attendance seems like it's kind of been down, and get those numbers up a little bit.
I think that's tremendously important. Many of you have been over to Huff Hall for with our volleyball program, for example. I don't think there's any doubt in this community and in the Fighting Illini fan base and our alumni base that if you have a winning program, people will show up. And I truly believe that is the case with our women's basketball program. I believe there's even history that speaks to that at one point in time prior to my arrival. So I would hope that, or truly believe that winning in the Big Ten Conference at a high level will bring people out to support that team.
Is the buyout, are there any mitigating factors in the clause? Possibly, would she have to get a new head coaching position or any job in college basketball? Would that mitigate your buyout?
No, those are monies that she receives regardless of whether she secures other employment or not.
Do you have a timetable for when you want a new coach to be in place?
You know, Marcus, I think it's open-ended. You know, there's a lot of reasons why you'd like to do it quickly, but I also realize that there are probably a number of coaches that we'd like to talk to that if they're having a successful season, they're doing postseason play right now, then it's really somewhat predicated by when they would be available. So I could best answer that, I guess, by saying as soon as possible, but certainly want to do our due diligence and bring the best pool of candidates forward at the end of the day, hiring the best coach possible.
As far as searching, and you're working alone with this, you're going to have some people helping you out, or how do you plan on conducting that?
Well, we'll convene a search committee, a group of people, mostly campus people, maybe all campus people that would be part of that process, and people that work closely with the women's basketball program, and people that I have great confidence in will help us put, once again, a good pool of candidates together from which to select a new head women's basketball coach.
Will you use a search firm?
No, at this point in time, John, I'm not planning on using a search firm. I can't say that I for sure wouldn't use a search firm, but at least at this point in time, I'm not planning on using a search firm.
Since you've been here in the short amount of time you've been here, kind of the second move you had to make, obviously with football being first, the challenges of that for you, and is that hard to make two moves for two fairly high-profile jobs here within the athletic programs?
Well, I don't think you go into any situation, at least in this profession, scripting it a certain way. And I guess in a baseball, terminology, get throwing curveballs even when I go to work every day. I don't know if I've ever had 2 days that are alike, and I've been doing this for 26 years. I think we'd all hope to be in situations, at least people who do what I do for a living, to say that, you have a Bobby Bowden for life, you have a Jim Boeheim for life, you have a Pat Summitt for life. And, you can kind of count those situations almost on probably on one hand per sport. So, it's kind of a nature of what we do, but I think we'd all like to be in situations where we have successful programs and aren't put in these type of situations to make these difficult decisions.
You said you spoke with the team and the assistants earlier today. How did they respond to the news?
Well, as you could imagine, it was a difficult situation, especially with the student athletes, great kids. Each and every one of them, they represent us well. They're good ambassadors for the program. They do what we ask for them to do in the community, in the classroom, and it was tough. It was very emotional, and I wouldn't expect otherwise. Matter of fact, it would have disappointed me if I would have went in the room and they wouldn't have reacted that way or responded with disappointment and with emotion, because I know that they have a close relationship with Coach Law. And as I alluded to earlier, she's a tremendous human being and a tremendous role model for these young ladies. So I'm sure that they have a friend for life in her, and I know that Jolette will move on, and there will once again be bright days in her future.
Where does Coach Law's staff fit into all this?
I'm sorry?
Do you see Coach Law's staff, any of them sticking around?
That's, at the end of the day, that's not really my call. I pretty much leave that in the hands of whoever that new head coach is, and regardless of the sport. So, as I said, Lisa will assume an interim role, and I'm confident she will do a real good job with our student athletes during a time of transition.
Mike, this is the second time you've had to make a move, and it seems like both times they happened quickly. Why make it so quick, and is this what we should expect from you?
I can't say that, whether it's what you should expect from me. I don't know. I hope I'm not, John, that predictable. And but in these situations, that's been the case. Will it always be the case? I can't say that for sure.
Is there an advantage of, I guess, moving forward quickly?
Well, I think that you want to move forward for a couple of reasons. One is really, I think it's different. I think football searches are different because it's a very tight window. You're dealing with recruiting weekends. You're dealing with a pretty competitive market. in a short window. In basketball, I think it's more of a moving target. You're not as concerned about the recruiting piece of it unless you're signing kids late. We were not intending on signing any kids late this year, so that's less of an issue. But also if you're in this situation, not all coaches are available at the same time if there's someone that you would have an interest in. But at the end of the day, also you have a group of student athletes who I think for their comfort level, the sooner you hire a coach, the better. So at least eases the uncertainty that they have in their mind.
When you're hired for this job or any other job, do you go into it and sort of do your homework and think, okay, these are the most likely points where I'm probably going to have to release somebody if something doesn't change? No, David. I don't. I really am I'm very open-minded about that. I certainly want to walk into any situation giving folks the benefit of the doubt. I think that's important. That's one of the reasons why I've always said that I'll assess the situation at the end of the year, regardless of the sport. I think that's important. I think you can always see balls bounce at different ways at certain times of the year, and that's really kind of always been my standard. And I don't see that necessarily changing in the future.
You said you talked to the team. Did you notify the two incoming freshmen?
The two incoming freshmen will be notified. I have not notified them personally, but that is happening, yes.
Do we have any questions from the phone lines for Mike Thomas? Anything else from here in the room? All right.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here this evening. Thank you. Thanks, Ken.